Greek mythology, one of the most influential pieces of history that exists today, but something that we see a lot in our general life. It's obvious that it's going to have a lot of adaptions, from video games to novels to comics and more. It's everywhere we look, really. How do these adaptions affect us and our view of Greek mythology? Are they good, or downright Tartarus-worthy? That's why I'll be taking a look at a few of these aforementioned adaptions today. So, some disclaimers. For one, I won't be talking about literally every single Greek mythos adaptation that has ever existed, otherwise we'd be here all day. And all night, to be honest. 2, I will only be discussing direct adaptations of mythology. If the series or whatever only uses names from Greek mythos, that doesn't count. For example, the Artemis Fowl series doesn't count just because the main character is named after a Greek goddess. It's fine if the adaptation changes the setting or the time period, as long as it is directly pulling from the original myths. With that out of the way, let's get started.
What are you doing? Don't walk on my roof.
If you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians, as well as its sequel series, Heroes of Olympus and Trials of Apollo. I'm sure most of you watching will also know what Percy Jackson is, but I'll explain anyway. PJO is a middle grade book series written by Rick Riordan, I hope I'm saying his name correct, which is about teenage demigods, half god, half human, in the modern day dealing with Greek mythology mishaps. As I mentioned before, there are 3 book series involved in what is overall known as the Riordanverse. If I'm saying his name wrong, I'm sorry. While Percy Jackson just focuses on Greek mythos, the other 2 also incorporate Roman mythology. There are also 2 spin-off series about Egyptian mythology, Norse mythology, the Kane Chronicles and Magnus Chase, respectively. There's also supplemental material, like the Demigod Files, Demigod Diaries, Percy Jackson's Greek Gods and Heroes, which retell the original myths, Rick Riordan Presents, which is like a spin-off about a bunch of different authors writing for different mythologies, the graphic novels and their dubiously questionable art, among others. I'm sure you've heard about this, but the books are getting a television series adaptation, which is scheduled to be released next year. I'm cautiously optimistic. The movies were certainly not great, so we can only hope that the series comes out better. I think what Percy Jackson does best is mixing modern elements with classical mythology, especially with the whole camp concept. There are some weird elements for sure, but overall it's a great series. I could say it's fairly accurate to the original myths, but I feel like some super mythology nerds may disagree. Another book is The Song of Achilles, which adapts the whole Achilles story. I haven't read it, but it looks good. And of course there are various other books about mythology out there, but like I said, if I listed them all, we'd be here all fucking day. Hades, the video game, is a fairly popular video game about the Prince of the Underworld, Zagreus, attempting to escape the underworld to the surface. I haven't actually played the game myself, so I can't talk about the game mechanics, but I will say I absolutely love the art and character designs. The voice acting and dialogue is also top notch. From what I've seen, the gameplay looks pretty fun as well. The character designs are similar to classical designs, but also look different enough to be their own things. I definitely recommend checking Hades out. Definitely recommend, like I said, especially if you like this type of game, definitely give it a try, or watch a let's play, I don't know. Of course, Hades isn't the only Greek mythos video game. Once again, we'd be here all day if I listed them all. Another very well-known one is the God of War series. God of War follows Spartan warrior Kratos, who ventures through Greek mythology and eventually becomes the titular God of War himself. The later games venture into Norse mythology, and I'm guessing they're going to do other mythologies in future games as well. I haven't played any of these games either, so once again I can't comment on the gameplay or anything. They also get pretty adult sometimes, if you catch my drift. Like everything else, the game takes liberties and there's a lot of edgy content, but I mean, if it's a good game, go for it. Once again, I recommend checking it out, maybe because of the aforementioned adult content, maybe check what content's in it before you play, because it is definitely not a game for kids. There's also a few Assassin's Creed games based on Greek myths as well, but I've never played any of them, so I can't really give you any personal experience. But like I said, they do look interesting as well, so if you like playing as an assassin, go and check them out. And well, while we're talking about games, you didn't hear this from me, I'll give Poptropica's Mythology Island a shout out. It's actually way more accurate to original mythology compared to some other adaptations I've seen, to be honest.
You're all going to hell. Goodbye.
Way down Hades. No, I'm not gonna sing. Hades Town is a musical created by... I don't even know how to say that. Help me. It's a retelling of the Orpheus and Eurydice myth in a steampunk setting. The underworld is essentially some industrial revolution type factory. Eurydice, like in the original myth, gets stuck down there, so Orpheus goes to rescue her. And if you know how the original myth ends, then yeah, not a happy ending. I adore the music, and I've had "Wait for Me" stuck in my head for about 6 months, so that says a lot. The industrial setting is also a fun twist on the original underworld. Hades Town isn't the only GM musical, nor is it the only one based on this particular myth. Look at this fucking list. There's also a Percy Jackson musical, which I'm bringing up now since we're discussing musicals. I haven't seen it, but I do like some of its music. It's also more faithful to both mythology and the original book compared to the movie. And now we're talking about Percy Jackson again, let's keep moving.
And with a full cast of characters ranging from the God of War.
I've talked about webtoons a few times on my channel, but one I've yet to mention is Lore Olympus, one of, if not the most popular comic on the entire app. Lore Olympus is essentially a retelling of the Hades and Persephone myth, as well as other gods and myths on the side. I mean, and trust me, there are so many retellings of that myth, like so fucking many! So yeah, not the most original concept I've seen. As of this video, I haven't read the entire comic yet because it's fairly long, but it has generated some controversy around its depictions of abuse and sexual assault, which I don't really feel qualified to talk about, so we're just gonna skim over it. So I remember there was some drama going around where people were comparing Lore Olympus and the Hades video game, which isn't really fair to do since they're completely different mediums. Fiona Apollo made a great video about it, I recommend checking it out. So the story is a little too romance focused for my taste, and it's a bit slow if you ask me, but once again that's my personal opinion. It's got way more subs than I'll ever see in my entire life, so... I do like the art style though. It does remind me of the original art you'd see on pottery and the like. Back to the story, apparently it gets quite bad in the later episodes, so yeah. There are of course other Greek mythology comics, a shit ton in fact. One of my faves is Punderworld, which is Lore Olympus if it was good pretty much. Definitely give it a try. There's also this really cool artist and they make a ton of good Greek mythology comics and I've been reading them for ages, so definitely check them out as well. Hercules is an animated Disney flick that came out at 97, bitch. As I'm sure you can guess by the title. It's a retelling of the original Hercules myth. Technically it's Heracles because Hercules is actually Roman. The more you know. I guess I can also bring up Fantasia, considering there is a Greek mythology centered part in it. Straight up nudity, bro. Zeus is more accurate in it, to be fair, like compared to Hercules, he's actually way more accurate in Fantasia. Yeah. Hercules definitely isn't an accurate retelling of the original myth, with many changes made, one being that Hera is his mother instead of his stepmother, and she's not constantly trying to kill him every 5 seconds. Plus, there's Hades. Yeah. He's a lot. I used to really hate this movie because of how inaccurate it was, but thinking back now, does it really need to be accurate? Mythology can be twisted around and interpreted in a lot of ways. Plus, Disney would obviously need to make changes to keep the story monetizer friendly, you know. I will say this, the songs are all freaking bangers. Why doesn't Hades get a villain song though? Come on. Aside from that, the music in this movie slaps so hard. It makes sense why they would change it up because obviously the other fairy tales that they've adapted, they've obviously changed a bit as well. I mean, if you know the original ending of The Little Mermaid, it's not very family friendly, happy fairy tale ending, you know. Another fairly well bunch of movies are Troy, which adapts Homer's epic, and 300, which is about the Spartans. You know, the whole "this is Sparta," that line, that's really famous and stuff. I haven't seen these movies, so I can't really comment on them, to be honest. So I'm just really bringing them up because I feel like people are going to be like, "This is Sparta" in the comments, so... Anyway, moving on. Quick fire round. This is more like the extra editions, I guess. So anyway, quick fire round. First we got Record of Ragnarok, which has some JoJo levels of musculature, honestly. Record of Ragnarok is pretty much about various gods from mythologies fighting famous historical figures over humanity's fate. I know you've all heard this, but the manga is better. Also, Aphrodite's design is so stupid. Please, giving her those assets just makes her look ridiculous. Please. Another well-known anime is the Saint Seiya series. This one's a bit more loose, but it's about a bunch of knights in service to Athena. I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you much. It does look cool, though. Now, a series I have not seen a lot of discussion about is Blood of Zeus, which is a Netflix series, and it's about the son of Zeus trying to save the world. Wow, how original. I like the animation, but I thought the story was mid. Season 1 came out quite a while ago, and apparently Season 2 is coming. Wait, what the fuck? 5 seasons? This better not become the new Big Mouth. What's your favourite Greek mythology adaptation? Is it what I mentioned in this video? Or maybe one I didn't mention? For me, my favourite adaptation is actually the fanfiction I wrote where the Prince of the Underworld. I love going to the Underworld. Yay! I don't know why I don't know what that was. Anyway, a few times on my channel, as you may know if you follow me on any of my social media, my link tree, you make sure to follow me. I don't even, fucking, why do I keep saying really weird stuff? Okay, try again. 6. Okay, let's keep going. It's gonna just ASMR break. ASMR. I like to touch you, and I'm gonna go like this. I'm just gonna pretend I'm a monster from Greek mythology, like coming to get you. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna get you. But like I said, we would be here all day. Yeah, I just went psycho during this video. I'm sorry.